once a young boy. I just wanna make noise, banging on the piano, cruise around like piano. Couldn't quite explain it. I didn't like the training. Teachers say you're distracted, and never do is practicing. Some people that I know, that's why don't you go on idle.
Louis the Fly, I'm Louis the Fly, straight from rubbish tip to you, spreading disease with the...
In Brisbane, we probably have three different types of ad agencies. You have your large sort of agencies, normally owned by multinationals or international companies. You have like a medium-sized full-service agency, and then you have your smaller sort of design studios. That would probably be the three types.
Kleenex gives you softness. Kleenex gives you care. Put some Kleenex.
I guess with a large agency, you have sort of their whole network. Obviously, you pay more for their services, but they're full service and sort of can pull together the resources across the world. Medium-sized agencies, you pay a little bit less. You hope that they're full service. But yeah, that's probably a cost sort of comparison there with your larger ones. And then your smaller design studios, they can range from somebody working from home where it's one person, you know, up to a team. They normally sort of bring together nice design, but maybe lack some of the ideas that you can get from a larger agency.
Just like Vita-Wheat's good wheaty taste. I'm lucky if they leave me any.
Good trim Vita-Wheat, the crisp bread all the family eats. So crisp and crunchy, taste the treat. Everyone loves Vita-Wheat.
Yeah, you probably have your Publicists, you have your Ogilvy's, you have your Clemenges. In Brisbane, there's BCM, which is Australia's largest independently owned agency. I think it was started 30 years ago or something. They've sort of held out selling it out, so it's all privately owned by the three original directors.
We turned on the lights. And we've been...
I think the answer is the availability of major accounts. Yeah, so the argument for Brisbane in those days was we've got nothing but retail accounts. All the major accounts are held, you know, because the major head offices are in Sydney, Melbourne, and what have you, some Adelaide. I think that's less today. I think.
Choose cheese, stacks and singles every single time. Cross singles every single time. Choose cheese, stacks and singles every single time.
Advertising is definitely not as glorious as it used to be. You know, it's hard work, and it's definitely changed. Probably 20 years ago, there was a lot more money that was willy-nilly being thrown around. I think in this day and age, people are more savvy about how things are produced.
When creatives back in my day were 10 foot tall and bulletproof, right? No, I don't think that's right. I don't think creativity gets the high marks as it used to, because it doesn't all depend on it. If somebody does it, is clever at something else. So I think that's been the basic change. I think just agencies grew with it. And I think agencies probably, I mean, the fact that agencies still exist and not the same places at all, I understand, not nearly as much fun.
Yeah.
It couldn't possibly be. And I think that's reflected in the advertising that we see, that and PC. But I think agencies have adapted and taken on board whatever it is they can, taken as much as they can.
I don't know if there's necessarily social media is really used as well as it could be within agency landscape. There's still very much this feel with a lot of the larger agencies. They have a low web presence, they have a low social media presence. It's kind of like they don't want to put themselves out there in an industry that they operate. So if they're not doing social media well for themselves, why would you use them?
All of this has happened very, very rapidly, very rapidly. I mean, I'm amazed the other day just what a short time ago it was that I first went on, had a PC.
Yeah.
I was an early user, and it wasn't all that long ago. And now people have got more on their watch than the room that was built at McCann Erickson back in the 70s.
And no other toothpaste can do it better. McLean's Fluoride, strong white teeth.
Technology's definitely changed the process. So maybe we might come up with the idea here in Brisbane, but then it's produced in Europe or in America, but then post-production's done in India. You see that all the time, so it's not a case of everything's produced in Brisbane, even though we do here as an agency. A lot of the larger guys, are outsourcing wherever they can find either cost savings or specialist sort of expertise.
I worked with a media company here, art directors, 2 lots of studios, 2 film studio researcher, all independents. All of us were independently doing that. I wouldn't have been able to do that 10 years before, but everything was available. And even during my career, it became possible to work in one town and people think you were somewhere else. I mean, I got my boat stuck in Palmerston Passage, stood there one morning in my underpants and spoke to a client in Sydney. He had no idea where I was, just as well, because I was standing on the duckboard in my underpants discussing his campaign and saying, yes, I'll see you on Thursday. So I think that probably is true today.
Yeah.
This program proudly brought to you by Nokia.
Well, I think it depends entirely on what crops up, what are the developments in the digital age, if you like, and I think advertising will follow it. As I say, I don't think there'll be a time when there isn't any advertising, even if it just gets simplified. But I mean, it's very complicated. The whole thing, the whole communications business now, in that sense, is diverse, and I think it will just follow whatever happens in the available media, the available outlets.
I think definitely integration is the big move. Technology, which we touched on. I think finding either ideas that immerse themselves into people's everyday lives, if and unless you're doing that, you need to have a really strong idea.
Frankly, I don't know, but I'd be fascinated to watch it. One thing I do know is that there'll always be room for creative people in the industry. I still think it's an opportunity to have a hell of a lot of fun, and I think that's a key. I really do.